Welcome back. It is the Face Off Friday night. Peter Kibazo with Chaz Romshana. Chaz, where do you see a peaceful resolution of crises like Kasese, Ruwenzori? I know that the IGP for everything else has been attempting to...
You see, the moment you see police involved in politics, then you know that there is a problem. Before elections, literally all organs of the NRM had failed to work. I don't know of a resident district commissioner who would call a rally of more than 1,000 people. And I don't know of any minister of Mr. Museveni before elections who could assemble a rally, a natural rally of 1,000 people outside his constituency. That Minister of Defense Chionga is going to meet people in Karamoja, and you have more than 1,000 people come on their own motion. And I don't see any of Mr. Museveni that Honorable Mugano Kajura is going to hold a rally in Kawempe. But even with Mr. Museveni himself, there must be these chameleons singing this Tubonga with something. Now, so that is how far political mobilization collapsed under this arrangement of Mr. Museveni. So you can't hear of Chionga making a move, at least even to find out. Just to find out.
Someone tells me here that Chibazo, you are negating certain activities. He says that religious leaders within the Ruwenzori region have met, and they are saying they can have a peaceful resolution to the crisis in the Ruwenzori.
Yes, that I'm saying, by the way, even civil society, you must first alarm. And there has been an alarm for civil society, including religious leaders, to move in. But you see, they have to first listen and see the trend. If they discover that Mr. Museveni is in favor of a conversation, then they will call for a conversation. Yes, because he buys them vehicles. They are part of the other clientele system, and that's basically the problem. So the only institution that has been dealing with the community has been police. Things went bad when they became openly partisan. But a DPC would call for a meeting and people would come, at least to discuss security. And then you would mobilize towards peace. So yes, Mr. Kale Kayihura is on the ground because the Minister of Internal Affairs, I don't know whether she has yet internalized to know her roles. I'm not very sure whether she has gone through any orientation. If you check the Minister for the Presidency, my very good friend Frank Tumwebaze, it is either about his constituency or Kampala. But that Frank Tumwebaze would move to Kasese and then one even get a brief about the history of, because you get any minister and double click where they even know the dynamics of Ruwenzori. So they're supposed to have briefing papers for cabinet to see which way. Now you have in the Inspector General of Police and he's telling you Mumbere and an institution are in treason. Ask him whether the National Security Council has met to discuss it and has a position on it. Because it is the National Security Council which is chaired either by the President or the Minister of Internal Affairs that is supposed to consider intelligence and then seek advice of the Attorney General, who is a member of the National Security Council, to look at the dynamics, the Constitution, human rights, and other. But you see, they don't go through those institutions. Even when you have been following...
Is it the absence of institution, or is it because people are just out?
Sometimes it's even orientation. I was a resident district commissioner, and I don't remember any meeting where we were told what to do. As an orientation. So they send you, and you have to look for the laws. You have to look for the laws. And that's when I learned of the National Security Council Statute Act that governs why this NRDC is a head of security and intelligence, and why you have, how you have the National Security Council. But when you read the affidavit of Mr. Kare, no, of the head of intelligence, crime intelligence, is saying we advised or we informed the National Security Council. You don't inform, you submit a report for them to take a decision. So Mr. Kare Kayihura can't take a decision, even to negotiate with Mumbere, without briefing the National Security Council and the National Security Council taking a decision. Because
how do you know he hasn't?
But you see, then he would be, who speaks for it?
The Minister of Internal Affairs.
Very good. What has he said? We shall not give them, we shall not compensate them. Have you heard anything else? You go and double click her about Rwenzori, she will ask you, why is it? You see, these are the complications. So where do we start from? You can't therefore talk of peaceful resolution of the conflict when you don't even have the definition of the conflict. What is the conflict about? Why are people...
That's where we started. And of course, you and I differed on that in the last discussion that we had. When I say that the conflict is actually largely a resource conflict, it is an identity conflict. People look at themselves and say, the state Uganda found us here, and we owned this territory. You came and gazetted off our territory and put animals here. The kingdom, of course, is a latter creation. But they say this land belongs to us. It is Hemingway that says, Grandpa killed lions, Pa tilled the land, and we came and settled here. And now you take it away, when they are talking about the Native Americans. But the Barez Ruru and the others say this is their natural inheritance. You've taken it away, settled them wrong, and they are saying, wait a minute, solve our economic problems. Now they become extremely vulnerable to criminal or treasonable activities. Because what happens is, if I feel enraged with Charles Romshana, the people of Luero, when they felt dissatisfied with the regime at this time, they were available for someone to recruit into rebel activities. Museveni found virgin ground there.
Did he?
He did.
Oh, that's what he did.
Well, that's what I believe, unless you tell me otherwise. And they picked up. They came on board. The Banyarwanda that were in camps, in Nakivale camp and the others, they felt they were threatened and they would have wanted to go home. And they were quick fodder for the rebellion against the regime of the day. And they were recruited. So today, the people of Kasese, Rwenzori, if Charles Romshana starts a rebel activity and goes there and they feel disenchanted with the regime, they will join you. If Peter Kibazo goes, I may be a little taller and they may be uncomfortable with my height with them, but they will join.
But you see, Mr. Kibazo, let's not lie ourselves. In ADF, you have a Musoga.
Yes.
And in ADF, you have someone from Nyamunuka. Nyamunuka is in Intungam. Right?
Okay, let me just read this. This is Mudiobe. Mudiobe says, Peter and Romshana, please find a way of preaching peace. For us, what is important is the peaceful solutions. You've said on your screen, peaceful resolution of Rwenzori. Can I hear where the peaceful resolution is? I would like to propose someone, elders in this country, to lead talks. Julius Katende says, I'm disappointed Pulkol is not there, but I think Pulkol, as a former security chief, should be able to tell us what is so attractive to rebel activity in the Rwenzori. Can this be solved peacefully? Can we talk? Kenneth Mande says, guys, welcome back. But please next time announce that the show is on today, blah, blah, blah. Okay, Kenneth, I get your message. That is a job that Charles Romshana actually usually does, and I think he didn't do today.
I did it late, I'm sorry. Because I wanted to be here first. You know, they normally intercept me on my way.
Yes, then some Maria Kariba says, Chivazo, the fact that you guys are on the set is a manifestation of tolerance with the government of Uganda. You've been spreading propaganda that the show was banned by the president. Is he no longer president so that you're there? Maria, I'm reading your message because I don't want you to be uncomfortable to say that I did not read your message. So Maria asks, is he no longer president that you're here?
There are two faces of this program. It is face off, but it can also be back off. So we want to know who says back off.
Okay. Nalubiai just loves the fact that you guys are back and says peaceful solution in this country. Sometimes it's good when brothers punch each other, then they realize that they are actually brothers when they are bleeding. Damn it, that's where Uganda is.
A peaceful solution.
David, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Peaceful solution. There is one of our friends there who says there should be an elder to lead a conversation, lead talks. There was an elder. There was the Elders Council that called for debates, where presidential candidates shook hands.
Yes.
You saw it in Sheraton, Serena Sole, before the cameras. A few weeks later, what happened? You have one presidential candidate screaming he can't breathe. One is strangling the other. So you can't have peace talks in Uganda because political actors who come from Ruwero, who have a background of violence, who are what they have because of violence, genuinely don't believe in a peaceful resolution of conflict. And that's why the peace talks in Nairobi collapsed. That's why the peace talks in Arusha, in the case of Rwanda, collapsed. And I'm watching to see how it will roll out with the Juba conversation, Juba, Ethiopia conversation. So even in this one, you cannot have peace talks unless you have understood the dynamics that generate the conflict. Not all that have issues of land or grievances around land throw stones at the security. But even here in Buganda, where you had issues of bona fide landowners, the Bibanja, versus the landlords, it is the state that was encouraging the Bibanja holders to literally lynch the landowners by the formation of Bibanja Holders Association.
David, you came in late, but very quickly. We are looking at the Ruwenzori. I gave Charles initially the question of whether or not if we got federalism, we would diffuse the tensions between the regions and the center. Because you have so many regions that look at themselves and do not see themselves in the mirror of the government at the center. In terms of resource allocation, in terms of development, in terms of identity, they don't feel they belong with that property called Uganda. And sometimes they will speak of secession, which may not really be a very tenable idea. And I was asking, would federalism or the regional tier be a solution to this, whatever nomenclature we may call it? And then the second, where are the other peaceful solutions to situations like Kasese? Because Kasese is not unique. It was in northern Uganda, it was in Buganda, it has been not quite in the east.
How about Kapchorwa?
Yeah. Yes, David.
Well, by way of an apology, yes, I was a guest speaker at a function by UCU, Uganda Christian University. Sorry, I've come late, but the issues are very familiar. First of all, yes, we are back on this space, but are we just objects of pity, subjects of charity, that the goodwill, magnanimity of His Excellency the President, who had asked kindly by force this program to be closed?
I'm not sure he's the one that asked.
Well, the rumor, okay, word went round, okay? Otherwise, for whatever reason, it's good to know we are back, because certainly somebody trying to constrain liberties, freedoms, that space that citizens have. You know, the government had developed a capacity to allow people to talk, and yet to put cotton wool or sand in his ears does not want to hear. No problem, even if you develop a thick skin like that of a hippopotamus, that even if we pinch you, you don't feel anything. But at least it's important for citizens to be exposed to alternative views, okay, so that they can then choose from there. Now, specifically, whether regional tier, sorry, I'm not for it, because it is just LC6 if you make it regional tier, because it's hollow, it's a big kraal, no cattle in it. Please don't even go that route. And I think I'm happy that Buganda did not accept.
No cattle, but there is cow dung.
And imagine to a Karimajo, you take me to there are no cattle, then what are you talking about, Chief? So, although they say we can talk till cows come back home, but they can be rustled on the way. They may not even arrive. But what am I talking about? I'm saying that, you see, time has come for Ugandans to sit again and agree what is it that we need to do together at the center, in the common room, like in a university. What is it that each of us can do in our own individual rooms? I think that debate, that discussion needs to take place. So, like if I say I'm 99% Karimojong, if you cut my blood here, so I begin from that point. And that we negotiate.
You identify
No,
yourself
no.
first as Karamojong
Of course, like Uganda,
before
like
Uganda, and that's important.
These are building blocks
Yes.
of a country called Uganda. So if you are not able, you are not proud about where you belong, where God put you, sorry for you, because you also were born, you did not fill an application to be born there, neither did you vote to be born there. It's something that we found ourselves, like for me, crying in the woods of Karamoja as a baby. And now, as I grow up, God was not foolish to place us there. But we are part of a Uganda document. Others try to make us an appendix, that we shall not wait for Karamoja to develop, but we are bringing ourselves here now. So the point I'm making is that while we were away, when the rest of you were enjoying, well, Karamoja was away. Okay? So you had the conversation. So we want that conversation back. So that we say, okay, 46% we do at the center. Foreign affairs, finance, Bank of Uganda, something, what is it? The army, we do together. It may be a federal police, small police under Kale Kaura. I hope it will not be Kale Kaura. I hope it will be somebody else. And then the rest of the police force at the state level, at the regional level.
To give you that one.
So now, wait a minute. I want that conversation to take place so that we agree that what is it that we need to do together, what is it that we need to do separately in our own areas. You want to be a minister of state? Go to the state. You want to be this? Sorry, don't disturb us. So this country is for all of us. Imagine, look at the miracle God created. In the Rwenzori of all places, where glacier, ice exists together with the equator.
By the way,
Glaciers on the top.
Procure for information, there are very good hills in the mountains, but there are no roads. So some guys have bought helicopters, are going to buy helicopters here and say it's that land. They are already identifying the land to fly there with the helicopters.
And the problem now is, thank you very much for that, because before this regime came, there was Uganda Airlines used to fly there. There was Kasese Airport. For the last 3 months, first of NRM, they have promised an airport, international airport in Kasese. People, you take votes, people. Nothing. There was a railway which was going there. Where is it now? They have eaten the railway with their teeth until no train moves. Okay? So, I don't know which termites these ones are. But this is a true African story. There was a Chibuku irrigation scheme. Now Duraline, there's Hima, there is Ame Farm, there's Prison Farm, there is Queen Elizabeth National Park, there is Kilembe Mines. Hey, wait a minute, where are the ordinary people? So before this, why should this erupt after LC3 election? Why should it erupt immediately after LC5 election in Bundibujo? What happened to the other eruption? I know this is a rift valley, and there are tectonic movements of the earth, and when there is an earthquake. But sincerely, this one. And also we know that the hot springs are gaining in temperatures, okay, in that western part of the Rift Valley. Whether you're talking about Fort Portal, or you're talking about Rukunjiri, or you're talking about, it's not like the hot springs in Kidepo, okay? So there's something happening in that western belt. Because
and the Karamojong is speaking in the parables.
I hear, what am I saying? The point I'm making, because when I came... You know what? Our lions have started climbing in Kidepo National Park. We used to go to Shasha sector to watch climbing lions in your village in Renshama. But now, because the buffaloes are multiplied in Kidepo, so the lions, they come for the lions. You hunt in 2 and 3, you're dead meat. So they have had to learn how to climb the tree. Now, for this other leopard in Tungam, is there a game reserve somewhere in Mirama Hills, somewhere there? Now, these lions, these leopards, which are with like a goat's tail, you can touch their thing, and they don't have long tails like ours. Okay, we have to again double click what's happening with those lions. But the point I'm making here is that somebody asked, what is wrong with the soil in Kasese, in Rwenzori, that is so prone to rebel activity? I think I was told to recognize that.
Yes, and I need to talk to the pool call that has a security mind, that has a regional understanding of security.
Yes.
And
because initially I raised, before you came, that the coming of the leader of the Obusinga now was brought as a tool to neutralize ADF.
It's very unfortunate that the lubricated oil media center with one retired Colonel Shaban saying that with the conflict about Yira State, that the Bakonjo want to secede. I mean, that type of daydreaming of our media center. It's a government media center. They don't do research. They get rejected stuff of 1950s. Cut and paste, they bring it to explain a situation after LC3 in that sub-county. And without
Give me the explanations now, David, before you shoot down Bantariza.
But now it comes the IGP also says this is a militia to the kingdom, and now it is it's fighting for you know, I mean, all this. I just want government officers, please. The offices you are sitting, other people have sat there before, and more better Ugandans will sit on those chairs. Please, when you are there, make sure that you do the right thing. Please don't take us in that fantasy. The challenge is, here is an election where the GISO, the DISO, the DPC, the OC police station of the area are taken sides. This is a situation where primaries of the NRM did not go very well, Tango Doi. And so those candidates found themselves again in the race. And then the night of Electoral Commission announcing there was a candidate who was leading. And then all of a sudden, they announced another one. And then the DPC whisks off that candidate from the race. And some people think their candidate has disappeared. And they follow and they go berserk. You don't even have announcements. And then you bring a police force to restore normalcy. And then they come now on one side where the Gizo is saying Wali, Wano, and then they're being shot dead. And then now, whatever it is, I don't know which one begins, I don't know which one ends. But this is not Karimajong, I must confess. But
you know, the road from your place to here, to Mbale, towards Zimbabwe, is Maram. And it's very bad. Do you know why? They are limiting many of you from coming.
And that's exactly the point, because they had the promise since '96 that they will tarmac that road from Sironko tomorrow to Paka tomorrow. So not yet. So, and yet the votes continue to be taken. But the point I want to make, maybe they don't want us to come here and make this kind of point. So I have a lot of sympathies and empathies for those citizens of Uganda who find themselves trapped when the state agents like police are officers of court. They must presume everybody innocent until proven guilty. But today's Uganda police, the Kaihura police, horror, because what have they just unleashed on the population? Horror. Okay, so
why don't you say that's how the Karamajong pronounce it?
Yeah, like for example, I told President Museveni about the third term. For us, we don't know how to say third term. We say sad term. This thing is going to be a sad term for you. He didn't understand me, but it is turning out to be sad indeed. Okay, what started as hey, wait a minute, you wait after court. And now, whichever way court goes.
By the way, on most not protocol. What is going on that you have been in a meeting to do something after?
No. I've been presenting
I don't mean you to protocol. You they go forward.
No.
That you have been in a meeting to do something when the court makes.
No. For us, regardless of what the official courts say, what is important is the court of public opinion. Forget about the court. The court of public opinion. I think there we're already winning in the court of public opinion.
Forget about the court. I don't want to...
because now the judiciary is the one on trial now. Because for Chigundu already, Museveni is already election.
David, I will outrule you now, there.
But let me come back to the question here.
Yes.
But Mr. Chamas also, there is no institution which is beyond audit.
No, but the issue here...
Well, you will audit them at their moment.
The issue here now I want to make is that if the Electoral Commission mismanages the election in that sub-county in Kasese and things flare up, then the police is brought to restore normalcy. Then they start killing citizens. It doesn't fit to their narrative, which Lumumba said, the state will kill your children. Because we've been saying, who will kill? Now we are seeing after election, the state killing.
So David,
so I want to come here and say,
I want to ask,
I've made my point.
Yes, I've heard you. Where is the peaceful resolution of circumstances like the ruins?
After election, any standoff, the peaceful resolution is through the Supreme Court. But you are seeing even how evidence is being stolen deliberately. You are seeing how our agents, those who are coming, signing affidavits, are being arrested. You are seeing how affidavits are being struck off, but that's a different story. And you're seeing important documents arriving only today when the thing is closing.
Forget about...
But that's a peaceful resolution. That's why while Captura is going the way we don't like it to go, the way Kasese and Bunyudubuja is going the way we don't like to go. On one side is violence. On the other side is a peaceful resolution, which would be through the courts, for example, which could be through dialogue. Now, the presidential candidates were told to dialogue. And one, as persistently said, I'm not coming. So the rest of Uganda decided to go forward.
When he
Now,
comes and shakes
after the
hands, he
second-
needs a strong word.
After the second thing, now who do you have? A presidential candidate who cannot leave his home? Is only allowed to come to All Saints and going back in style and told? This is not unacceptable. So anyway, this is a country called Uganda. It's for all of us. Let's pursue the peaceful approach. I think what Kale Kaura did yesterday, sitting with Mumbere, I think was a good gesture. But the Kale Kaura used to know when he was a major, when he was a colonel. Where did that Kaura go? The Kaura that I supported in
He was in Kasese yesterday.
Look, this one starts by judging you first and saying outrageous statements. But the Kale Kaura I knew was a political commissar. And those commissars...
But Mr. Purkol,
Wait a minute.
assuming what he's saying is also correct.
That, but then...
Because where you see what we would need is the availability of evidence.
Let's say that...
Yes, if we are going to audit him.
Let's say it was correct. That a rebel group had captured that sub-county. And that rebel group was using stones to create...
No, they are
to create a Ira state.
No. The intention is different.
And that rebel group...
The intention is different.
I had some people who reside there who may be guards of the Mumbere, but that's their home area, and they were at home for voting. And now when you find them there,
and they were killed.
They were killed. And then you say, were they there in a formation? So if you say there was a rebel camp there, how big was the camp? What's the name of this rebel group? What's its leadership structure? What's its disposition, projection of its forces? What's the order of battle? In terms of weaponry, in terms of what? You don't just stop there at labeling citizens.
Yeah, but now the question is...
Before even you get to all that, and what we see...
The question we are trying to interrogate, assuming that yes, there is an insurgency, and assuming it's also true that the institution of the Obisinga and Mumbere are involved.
It could be.
Because that's also a possibility.
It could be.
Who supposed to speak it out?
But now...
But in the order of government, who is supposed to speak it out?
Let me take a break. Viewers, I'm taking a short break, and when I return, I'll be able to take a few of your calls, and then you talk to the gentleman, and then we'll touch 1, 2, 3 things that I'll just need opinion on, and we'll check out of here at past. Don't go away.